Hi everyone, welcome to the 16th of this series of videos on Task 2 IELTS Task 2 writing. And this video is going to talk about the C styles. With this video, we will now be officially concluding all the videos that relate to IELTS Task 2 writing. And as I have been mentioning before, the C styles are really just a variant of the A and the B styles, and therefore this is not really something new. This is really where you just consolidate all that you've learned as regards to the A and B styles, and then you apply it accordingly to the C styles. Therefore, uh, you cannot really consider yourself ready for the C styles until you've somehow become very skilled in using the A or the B styles. So, as a quick review, mm, remember there are one-sided question prompts, and there are also what we call as crossover question prompts. So, crossover question prompts are question prompts which explicitly mention two sides of an issue, and one-sided question prompts are those which only mention one side of a particular controversy. So, for the A style, for example, for all intents and purposes, when you say one-sided question prompts, then this is really just to what extent you agree or disagree. Although there are other variants of this one, but basically that's the most common one. The to what extent do you agree or disagree. So for the to what extent question, if you do agree with the question prompt, then you can just argue one-sidedly, and then we can therefore call this one-sided agree. However, if you disagree with the said question prompt, then we are now it's now entirely different. There is no such thing as one-sided disagree. No such thing as this disagree there over there. So again, let me emphasize: there's no such thing as a one-sided disagree. So instead, you will need to implement a certain argumentative technique, which we now call as the kill. There, the kill disagree. So this is all in conformity with the cardinal rule, which states that if the writer agrees with the one-sided proposition, then the writer may just choose to posit a number of arguments to defend one's agreement. And however, if the writer disagrees with a proposition, then he or she should not forget to kill the arguments of the agree side. So that highlighted phrase over there is actually very important because it explicitly reminds the writer that you'll have to first mention the arguments of the agree side, and then you now have to proceed to kill these arguments afterwards. That was discussed in the earlier videos. That was in video 1 and video 2. Now, the definition of the kill is to render the arguments of the opposing opinion completely false or illogical. Cardinal rule number 2 therefore explains that the reason why we need to kill the arguments of the agree side is because the agree arguments are stated in the question prompt. And everything that's in the question prompt should be duly expounded, expanded, explained, and elaborated in the essay itself. So these are the cardinal rules. Uh, Please do not forget that since they are cardinal rules, that if you violate these rules, then that is no longer a band 7. Related to the A styles are crossover A styles. There you go. Okay, so for the crossover question prompts, particularly the A style. Wait, let me just fit all of that in a frame. There are indeed to what extent questions that are explicitly mentioning two sides of a particular issue. So, for all intents and purposes, we cannot call them as one-sided question prompts, even though it's a to what extent do you agree or disagree question. So, if it's a to what extent question, but it explicitly mentions two sides of a particular issue, then we are now confronted with a crossover question prompt. And for this one, the same rules apply. If you agree with one side of the issue, then no. What happens there if you agree with one side of the issue, then you'll have to kill the arguments of the disagree side, and vice versa. If you disagree with one side of the if you disagree with one side of the issue, no, basically that's it. If you agree with one side of the issue, then you have to kill the arguments of the agree side, as stated in this cardinal rule number 3. In a crossover question prompt, should the writer choose one value over the other, then the writer is mandatorily required to kill the arguments of the disagree side. So we will now uh, label this as the crossover A2 style, which is the crossover kill there. All right. So those are the A styles, and then let's now proceed to the B styles. If you are confronted with B styles are crossover question prompts. There's no denying it. So, and the other characteristic of the B style is that you have two sides of an issue that are equally compelling, or they are it becomes very difficult to kill one side or the other. Therefore, in order to resolve the controversy, then we can implement either the B1 style, which is now what we would call as the coexist, wherein the writer argues for both sides of the issue. And then, other than that, we can now also implement the it depends, wherein the writer argues that both sides of the issue are acceptable depending on certain circumstances. And then we can also argue using the compromise, wherein the writer argues that since both sides of the issue are equally compelling, the only way to resolve this controversy is to find a compromise between them. That is the B3 style is really quite popular. A lot of my students actually use this, and a lot of students actually have passed using the B3 styles. So based on those, we can now formulate our fourth cardinal rule. In all B styles, the writer should treat both sides of the issue in balance. Very important to emphasize that both sides of the issue are in balance. It is the balance of these two sides which raises a dilemma and necessitates a problem solver, wherein in the B1 style, the writer agrees that both sides of the issue can coexist at the same time right now. In the B2 style, the writer argues that both sides of the issue can coexist at the same time, but only upon the implementation of certain depending circumstances. And in the B3 style, the writer argues that both sides of the issue can coexist at the same time, but only upon the implementation of a certain compromise action. I do get some questions asking me about the difference between the B1 style and the B3 style. So basically, for the B3 style, you'll have to implement an added compromise action in order to resolve the issue, but for the B1 style, there's really no need to make any added actions. All you need to do is to say that let's implement both at the same time right now. Okay, so if you can see this notepad that I created, so you will see the B1 style over in video 9, and then the B2 style in video 10, and then the B3 style in video 13. Of course, we are already in video 16, which is talking about the C styles. If you're looking for the A styles, then that's in video 1. And then the A2 style or the kill style is in video 2. But the crossover A2 style, that's in video 7. So that is, I'm sorry about that. That's crossover kill and bury. I'm sorry about that. I've forgotten already. Alright, there. So that is the kill and bury style. So we are now going into the C styles. So if you remember, there, from the last video, I mean that was in video number 14, I believe. There, the FAQs on the B styles. There was a question that asked a very important question, which was asking, how should you determine which of the styles is best to use for a particular question? And if you remember in that video, we only talked about the A1, A2, B1, B2, B3 styles and not the C styles because the answer to that question is there are really only five fundamental styles to remember. I mean that yeah, five fundamental styles to remember. So that's a A1, A2, and then B1, B2, and B3. The C styles are therefore just hybrids or variants of the A and the B styles. So for the C styles, we can now label this as the one-sided two-part question. So of course, since it's one-sided, then we can now implement what we call as the A1 or the A2 styles. And then for the C2 style, these are now what we call as the crossover two-part question prompts there. So since it's a two-part question, then I mean it's a crossover, then the choices now are either the A2 style, B1, B2, or the B3 styles. We already saw the samples of these kinds of essay in the last video, in video number 15, wherein you were given a essay that scored band 7.5 using uh, with the question being a one-sided two-part question, and then another essay which scored a band 7 with the question being a crossover two-part question. So that is now what we now call as the C styles. So again, the C styles are not new argumentative structures. All the base argumentative structures have already been laid out with the A1, A2, B1, B2, B3 styles. So they are the five fundamental argumentative approaches to use for IELTS Task 2 writing. And then the C style is really just a variant of all the previous five argumentative structures that I've been talking about. So we know that the question prompt is a C style because there are two explicit questions that are contained in the said question prompt. That's why this is commonly labeled as the two-part question essay, and some materials do label this as the direct question essay. So between the two terminologies, I really would prefer the two-part question. Because if we say it's the direct question, somehow my students tend to believe that all you need to do is to answer the questions directly. But of course, that is not necessarily true, as you've seen in the last video, wherein the writer actually discerned that she will need to talk about a certain aspect of the particular controversy, and this aspect was not in the question prompt itself. Later, we'll discuss that as we go along. So, for all intents and purposes, the C styles really are the most underestimated of the essay questions, precisely because students have this misinterpretation that all you need to do is to answer the questions directly and you're okay with it. It doesn't apply all the time. You'll really have to look deeper. Yeah, you might feel that you just have to answer it one-sidedly, but there really is another side of the issue. So you'll have to implement the crossover therefore. So let me remind again, it is the most underestimated of the question types. So I would rather not use direct question because in many cases, you really just do not answer the questions directly. And I would instead prefer to call this as the two-part question essay. So samples of that were what you saw in the last video. The family tradition of eating together during mealtime is disappearing. Why is this so? And what are the effects of this to the family and the community? This was the essay that scored a band 7.5, and that was shown in video number 15. And this is now what we call the C1 style because the two questions are answerable one-sidedly. Why is this so? So if you remember in that part, the writer proceeded to argue a number of arguments in one paragraph why this trend is happening and what are the effects of this to the family and the community. And so the writer proceeded to argue some effects to the family and some effects to the community. And in that essay, the writer did not forget to solve the problem because task 2 writing is really a problem solving exercise. So that was the added step that the writer performed in that essay, helping to explain the band 7.5 score. But going back, it really is a C1 style because it really only mentions one side of a particular controversy, which is why is the family tradition of eating together during mealtime disappearing? So that being said, this is clearly very one-sided, but the difficult part, there really is no easy question in IELTS. So the difficult part of this question prompt is, yes, argumentatively, you just have to answer both questions one-sidedly, but what kind of answers will you be writing, or what kind of answers will you be positing? So more or less, you'll have to be very aware of the particular trend and what causes this trend, and that was what my student did for that particular essay. Go back to video number 15 if you haven't seen it yet. So clearly, it's a C style because there are two explicit questions, answerable one-sided. But there are certain questions that suddenly become crossovers, and that is what we encountered with the next question. Also demonstrated in video number 15, wherein a student of mine scored a band 7 using the C2 style. And the particular question that the student was thrown was this one: scientists are now saying that by studying a 3-year-old child's behavior, it can already be seen if he will grow up to be a criminal. To what extent is a crime committed under human nature, and do you think it's possible to stop a child from becoming a criminal? So if you notice, the proposition itself, we call this a premise, like the scientists are now saying that by studying a 3-year-old child's behavior, it can already be seen that if he will grow up to be a criminal. So there really is no other side of the issue, so it's very one-sided. But my student was smart enough to detect that the question is to what extent is a crime committed under human nature. So this is part of, for all intents and purposes, a to what extent do you agree or disagree question. And so the writer, yes, the writer could answer one-sidedly using the A1 style. But what the writer chose there is to implement the A2 style, or the kill disagree. And the other side of the issue therefore here is the impact of the environment to a child's psychology. And the writer argued there that uh, crime is committed under human nature because of a person's innate or uh, maybe congenital psychological defect. But at the same time, the writer also said that these can be there are other factors that also contribute to crime, and that is the environment. And so the writer crossed over when it came to that part there. And in that crossover, the writer performed the A2 style, or the kill disagree. And so, in answer to the second question, do you think it's possible to stop a child from becoming a criminal? So the writer therefore just capped the discussion by saying that, yes, it is indeed possible to stop a child from becoming a criminal, even though the child has a criminal tendency, or is imbibed with a criminal mind. And this can be done through proper parental guidance, and proper guidance from teachers, from all the institutions, the relatives, the government, etc., etc. And with this influence of the environment, and the criminal mind is now repressed and successively buried deep into the subconscious. So again, there are two-part questions. This is clearly a two-part question. That's question number 1 over there. And then this is question number 2 over here. So there are two-part questions that are answerable one-sidedly using the C style. And then there are two-part questions that can be answered with a crossover using the C2 style. And so that being said, going back to video number 14, talking about the frequently asked questions. So this is really like a template. So the question was, how do you know which style to use? So for crossover controversies, it really is either the A2 style, kill and bury, or the B1 style, the coexist, the B2 style it depends, or the B3 style compromise. So this applies even if the question is a two-part question. And for one-sided controversies, it's either the one-sided agree, or the kill and bury, both A2 styles. And alternately, you can also use the coexist. It depends on the compromise. So basically, we're really only talking about five argumentative techniques. Yeah, whether or not the question is a two-part question, or just a to what extent question, or a discuss both these question. We are just talking about five fundamental argumentative style. Okay, so that being said, it's time for me to demonstrate. Now, before that, yes, I'll have to show you some question prompts that are undoubtedly C styles, or two-part questions. For example, people expect the things they want to be given instantly. This was from a few months back in 2019. I think that was February 2019. The prompt is, why is this, and is this a positive or negative development? So you can see that there is the phrase positive or negative, but what the question uses here is the conjunction or. So you can actually choose to just argue positively, and that's the end of it. You can just ignore the negative aspect of it. So you can now, what you're now doing is what we call as the A1 style. You're just answering the questions one-sidedly. And then the next one, consumers are faced with increasing advertising by competing agencies. To what extent are consumers influenced by advertisements, and what measures could be taken to protect them? So this is clearly a crossover, particularly because of the to what extent phrase. So in this particular prompt, if the student is trained under the methodology that we've been discussing in these videos, then we now can infer that we can argue that some people are influenced by advertisements. Some people are not influenced by advertisements, and then you cross over to the other side wherein you say now that some consumers are indeed influenced by advertisements, and therefore there are certain measures that could be taken to protect them. There. So, in answer to this first question, you now talk about two sides of the issue. Some people are not influenced, but indeed there are some people who are influenced. And for all intents and purposes, that is what we now call the it depends. Maybe you can say that some people are not influenced, especially those who are older and more discerning and more experienced. However, there are others who are younger and easily fall prey to the machinations of advertising, so to speak. And uh, from that point, you can now resolve the problem by recommending measures to protect these gullible people, so to speak. Let's move on to this next two-part question. 100 years ago, people thought that the human race was steadily making progress in all areas of life. Nowadays, there is less certainty that it is so. So clearly, this is crossover. So there are people who say that who are less certain that the human race is making progress in all areas of life. And there are people, especially those from 100 years ago, who do believe that we are making progress in all areas of life. So if you can see from the very premise itself, it's already a crossover, so that as cardinal rule number 2 states, everything that's in the question prompt should be expounded, expanded, explained, and elaborated in the essay. So that means that you'll have to talk about these two sides of the issue in the essay itself. So if you can see in the question prompt, in what areas do you think the most important progress has been made so far? That is practically answering the first part of the question over here. And then if you can see in the second question, in what areas are more things needed to be done? There. For all intents and purposes, you're actually answering the crossover. Or in other words, the opinions of people who feel that there is less certainty that we are making progress in all areas of life. This is a tough one, really. And then, of course, when you've discussed those two sides of the issue, then don't forget that the only way to resolve a crossover is either using the A2 style, or the B1 style, the B2 style, or the B3 style. So, there. Let's now move on. Economic progress is often used to measure a country's success. However, some people believe that other factors are more important. And clearly, it's a crossover. So there's one side of the issue over there talking about economic progress, and then the other factors now are the crossover opinions. Of course, that's very tricky. You'll have to determine what the other factors refer to exactly. So, what other factors should also be considered when measuring a country's success? So, maybe we can talk about literacy rate, for example, or morbidity and mortality rates, or housing rates, example, or and then do you think one factor is important over the other? This is the part where you now resolve the controversy. So it can either be the A2 style, B1, B2, or B3 style. And then some children receive almost no encouragement from their parents regarding their performance in school, while other children receive too much pressure from their over-enthusiastic parents, which can have a negative impact on a child. So clearly, there are two sides of the issue there. And then if you notice in the question, why do you think some parents put too much pressure on their children to perform well in school? So if the writer is trained under my methodology, then the writer knows that you just don't answer this question, but this question is actually talking about receiving too much pressure over here. But if you are trained in my methodology, then what you now need to realize, in conformity with cardinal rule number 2, is that you'll also have to talk about this part of the issue, about children receiving almost no encouragement from their parents. And therefore, the answer to this first question is really the two sides of the issue. And then answering the second question, that's now the part where you resolve the controversy by using either the A2 style or the B1, B2, or B3 styles. So clearly what I have to do here is to demonstrate how these particular questions are answered. So that's what I'll be doing in the next video. In video number 17, I will have essays on these three particular question prompts so that you will now see how the crossovers work. All of these three that are highlighted over here are what we call as C2 styles, or crossover two-part question essays. And then over here are what you call as the C1 styles, or one-sided two-part question essays. So I did say a while ago that the C3 style, or the C style, is really a killer because many students really do not many students do have the misimpression that you just have to answer the questions directly. But again, the warning is there is the C1 style, and these are the essays where you just answer the question directly, as exemplified in that question prompt over there. But there are also what we call there's also what we call the C2 style, wherein in answering the question you will have to cross over to the opposing side of the issue. And remember, when there is a crossover, there are only four ways to resolve the crossover, either using the A2 style, B1, B2, and B3 style. So all of that will be demonstrated in the next video, because if I do it now, it's gonna tend to be very long. So I did receive some feedback that some of the videos are really long. So I realized that the mind does have to rest for a while. So that will be discussed in the next video, video number 17, live written exercises on crossover question prompts. So thank you again, everybody, and I'll see you in video number 17.